Hello and welcome to the very first episode of PLA Backstage Pass. I am your most of the time host, Tress, and I am here with our founder and CEO today, Michelle. And welcome. Thanks for being here with us today. Thank you for being here with me today.
Thank you. I feel like we've talked about having a podcast for PLA for probably 3 years now. And somehow it's always sort of go like, oh, we'll do it next month. And all of the podcast equipment you see here, we'll probably have it for like a year. And finally I told Tress, I'm like, Tress, let's just go for it and do a podcast. So I'm excited to be on the very first episode.
I know, it's exciting. Well, you should be on the first episode.
Well, I don't know. There's way more interesting people in this company to interview, I would probably say.
I highly disagree.
If you interview my husband, it would be very entertaining. At least
Maybe we should do that sometime.
I'd be scared, but yeah. But I'm sure he'll be up for it.
It'll be entertaining.
I'd be a little scared.
I totally believe you. So because this is our first episode, we are in our podcast studio in our new location, like our new headquarters, and that's so exciting. And if you follow along with us, and I'm assuming that you will, you'll watch our set grow and change and kind of become the vision that we have for it. But we just didn't want to keep waiting.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited about just starting where we're at.
Me too. When I talk about having a podcast, as a lash artist, I listen to podcasts all the time. And I would just like put my headset on. So when I thought about doing a podcast, I imagined like us would just flopping on a couch and talk about, all of the topics.
Should we have gotten a couch?
We could still get a couch.
Okay.
We can still get a couch.
Noted.
But now that we having our own podcast room, it feels very official.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to decorate it, change it, maybe even, set a themes for it, all this stuff. But I love talking about all the things behind the scenes at PLA. And I think, or I hope we'll use a lot of time on this podcast to sort of dedicate it, talk about, a brand, talk about other things, changes in the industry and, all the fun, super exciting things and boring things like accounting too.
Yeah, that's kind of why we came to the name Backstage Pass, because we really do want this to be something that invites everybody in to see and learn about like the inner workings and what goes on behind the scenes in the lash industry. And yes, like accounting is important for everybody.
Yes, it is.
Like more important than anybody wants to give it credit for, unless you're Jeff. And I just think that it's going to be a really exciting opportunity to share more in like an unscripted, longer format way than we can on social media.
Yeah. I also think, I sort of started this company as I had a guest this morning, and I've known her for 17 years since I've moved to Reno. And I used to do her lashes on like the couch of the rental, like I wouldn't even call it a rental house because like me and my husband were sharing a room in a house that like his friend owned. We like rented a room there, and I would do her lashes on the couch there. So we, now she worked for a big real estate company, and I do this. We sort of looked at each other and go like, oh my God, like what would we be able to tell our younger self,
Yeah.
And I think that's really, really cool. I want to share all the experience, all the things that I went through building this company, and all the things that I wish like the 25 years old Michelle would have known. And, it would have made my life a whole lot easier if I'd known half of the things that I know now, and lots of scars. Lots of battle scars. But I want to share it with our lash industry. I want to share things that I've learned, and I'm hoping that you don't have to learn that the same expensive way that I did. And then I'm excited to like share about things that our stocks here do, where I think most people look at a lash brand and they go, oh my God, like the so fun, pink, bubbly, exciting things that we show on social media. There's so much more going on behind building a brand. And there's so much more that our customers and PLA staff sort of went through to build a company to the point that it is now. And it's fun to always do behind the scenes.
Yeah, I agree. So I said unscripted and I meant it, but I have a list of questions here with me today because I wanted to make sure that there were certain things that we hit on for the first episode because they're just important.
Yeah. And for the record, I did ask you what it is, and you said, no, I'm not telling you.
So this is unscripted for
this
you,
is
for
blind.
sure.
This is very blind. We'll see.
Okay, so are you ready? Are you
Yes,
ready for
I am.
I was gonna try to do like rapid fire.
Okay.
But you don't have to speak quickly, and
Okay.
if like we have time. So okay, so my first question okay, sorry. My first question for you is if somebody, okay, hold on, I'm gonna back up. PLA is so much more than a lash brand.
Oh, yeah.
PLA is a big beauty brand. We do nails, we do wax, we do lash, we do education. We do so much. You do so much for the industry and the communities, and that's really exciting. And one of the things that I've seen about you is you are a celebrity in the industry, and you always make that face, and you completely disagree with it. And I love just the humility that you have behind who you are and what you do, and this incredible company that you run in this industry. So one of like the first thing I wanted to ask you is if somebody in the industry knows who you are already, like they're aware of you, what do you think they know about you?
It's really fun when I think people at different stage know me for different things. Now, if they know me now, I think they would know that I run the company, like, just I run a little bit of marketing, I run strategy, I run product development, and I think most people still knows PLA as like a lash company, but our nails is actually about 25% of what we sell. I can't believe I said
That's so exciting.
I know, and we just got into the biggest chains of like the store in Texas. I actually think I'm allowed to say it because now it's out. Yeah, we got into HEB. So if you go into HEB and you see our beautiful nail polish there, and I think people know me and PLA a lot for we go to a lot of conferences and we do a lot of giveaway prizes, things like that. But I'm a little sad because I haven't taught lashes in a while, so I don't think people know me as the lash artist that I used to be or the educator that I used to be. And to be 100% transparent, about 2 years ago, I told Ashley, and then when you came on, I told you, I said, you know what, I don't feel qualified to teach lashes anymore. And I know that's a really big statement for someone who owns a lash brand, who built their name really is from being a lash artist and an educator, because I haven't been lashing for probably 3.5 years.
Yeah.
And I say I spend all of my time, most of my time now on product developments, which I absolutely love. And I play with lashes in such a different way. And it allows me to make things and create things I wish I had as a lash artist. But if I teach a lash class right now, I could tell you 20 other people that would teach a better lash class. So I stopped teaching at conferences, and now if I teach business because I truly love business and I truly understand. I really learned a lot of things about business that I had no idea when I was a lash artist. So I'm officially like hanging up my teaching hat and handing it over to the people who are really involved and still really lashing, still really have their hands on the pulse up lashing every day, which is you, which is Ashley. Erin's joining our team and she's wonderful. Blanca, and yeah, they are amazing.
They
educators. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm putting that a little bit in the past. A little sad because I loved it.
Yeah.
But you can't do everything good at the same time.
No, I think you definitely have to focus. If you try to do everything, you're not going to do anything at like an elite level.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agreed.
Okay. What if there was anybody in the industry, what would you want them to know about you? Like if you could give one piece to like everybody, what would you want them to know about you or PLA?
I would probably say, I would say PLA done a lot of amazing things. And I've really been honored to play a lot of part in the industry, from innovations to like speakers to build a brand to other things. If there's one thing that I really want to tell people, and if you get anything out of my very crazy up and down and turn left and turn right stories, is I built this in a garage with literally $5,000 of like my saving money. And a lot of people contribute what I build to luck. A lot of people contribute what I build to timing or meeting the right people. I would probably say I want to encourage people that if they want to do something, they don't need to have $1,000,000 in the bank to start a brand, to start a salon, or to learn how to do product development and all of that. If you work hard at it and you love it enough, you find different ways to make it happen. And that's what I want people to know. If you want to do something, if I can share with you all of the horror stories that I went through building this brand, you probably looked at it and you go like, okay, yeah, I mean, I can do it.
Maybe we should do a whole episode on that.
Of horror stories. Oh God, there's some that now I look back and I was just like, I can't believe I was that naive. I can't believe I thought that, and I can't believe I didn't know it. And hopefully I'll share some with you. Some that I never thought I'd bounce back from.
Yeah.
Some that make me want to quit. Some almost split my family apart. And then some I was just like, okay, just kill me now. I don't have any more to give. But somehow it all works out okay. But yes, you can do anything. And I know a lot of people say that you can do anything, but truly I meant you can do anything. I didn't come from money. I wasn't the best lash artist. I know nothing about business. And if it happens to me, it can happen to you too if you want it bad enough.
So then I would say, I don't think any of this happened to you.
What do you mean?
I think you created it.
Yeah,
so
no,
I would just, for anybody listening, I would say if you can create this, they can create something great, but this didn't happen to you. And I don't want anybody to think that was like a windfall.
Is it funny? Because I have people in my family like said that, like people that knows me in my family said like I've gotten really lucky, along the way and all of this stuff. And I would say, yes, a lot of what PLA has gone through and what happened with my career the last 7 years has a little bit with, meeting the right people and, given the right opportunity. However, most of that comes with being like putting yourself out there, and really, really wanting that. Like I actually have an uncle of mine who's like, yeah, she's just lucky. And I'm like, I work 80 hours a week.
Right.
But he doesn't think that anymore, because then I think, he start to really look into what I was doing. He's like, okay, you do work hard. And I'm like, I work so incredibly hard, but it doesn't feel work for me most of the time. Sometimes it does, because sometimes I'm like, that's a lot of hours. But most of the time it doesn't. But it didn't feel that way the first year. Mm-hmm. The first year absolutely felt like work, because I wasn't quite sure yet where it was going.
Yeah.
So it was just a lot of grinding. It was a lot of working hours, like non-pay and stuff like that. And then now it becomes something I really, truly love.
I love that. I love that. Thank you. Okay, so next question.
Okay. Rapid fire is going very terribly.
It's actually exactly how I expected it. So we're good.
Just as like Michelle's known for rambling.
I think that you're known for sharing openly and being transparent, and I value that about you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, I try. I try. I think if I share all the rosy stuff, our industry is known to be a little bit of an echo chamber, I would say. Mm-hmm. Everyone share good, great, wonderful, positive stuff. And a lot of it, I would say, a good chunk of it, I would say, is manufacturers, right? And part of it is true. And very few people actually share the hard part, the part that where you go, this is it, this is the end, and I don't want people that go into the industry, especially people that considering opening a brand, opening a salon, goes like, you know what, I'm going to go in, it's going to be all wonderful, it's going to be rosy, and your first stumble is going to feel so hard if you don't really know ahead of time.
I've seen it happen over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, question 2. When you first came to the US at the age of 18 and mostly unable to speak English,
Yes.
what was your dream then?
Oh, you know what? Really crazy. I didn't really have an idea what the U.S. was like, so I got a visa for international student and got a partial scholarship and came here, and I just wanted to get out of my very 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 small home farm town. Nothing's against small home farm town, but I spent 18 years of it, and that was enough. But when I came here, I know I wanted a better life for myself. I didn't particularly had anything where I'm like, I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to be a, whatever it is. And then I came here, and because I'm Asian, I'm Vietnamese. So, when you have no directions in life and you're 18, your parents usually tell you that you go into engineering, like computer engineering, which we have a few in our family. And then, or you work in medical field. So I said, I'll become a doctor, or I'll become a nurse, I'll become a pharmacist. And I started going to school and volunteering at hospital. And I'm like, I hate this so much.
I have such a hard time imagining you there.
I'm like, I hate this so much. And I volunteered at a hospital. I almost got kicked on the face one time. And I was like, that's it. I'm good. I'm good. I do not need, and I have so much respect for like healthcare workers because of my short time there. So I sort of just like, just going through college, not really knowing what to do. And then eyelash extension fell in my lap. I sort of always know I wanted to be an entrepreneur because my dad was, but also I was really scared because my dad has such a hard time with building businesses, different businesses throughout the years and growing up, seeing that. I was always very admiring it, but I also know it was not the easiest things to do.
Right.
And then, it sort of just happened that I fell into this and became one. If I would have stayed in Vietnam, I would have became an attorney because I got into law school there, which my husband would say fitting because I love arguing with him. But, I found some help, some use for it in the field that I do now.
Yeah. I mean, I love that. Okay. What would you go back and tell that younger self that had just gotten here if you only had 2 minutes with her?
Oh, God. If I went back to 10 years ago, and told my younger self one thing, and I think this is by default, culturally, I am very much of a people pleaser. And I am very much of like, are you okay? Like, is everything okay? Like, it's okay. Like, I will compromise. I will do this. I will like having you be happy. It doesn't matter who you are, as long as you sort of is in my life and circle is more important than my happiness. And the older that I am, the more I was, and this goes for family, this goes for business. I realized that people can be different and be friends. And I didn't know that when I was younger.
Yeah.
I realized that we can have completely different business philosophy and still be friends. And it's okay to, and it's really weird for me to say this out loud, it's okay to put yourself, your needs, and your business and your family's needs first. And you don't always have to end up on the losing side of it just because you will worry about hurting someone else's feeling or other things. It doesn't mean you're screwing people over, but I probably say in my 20s, my life was a shit show because I was always so worried about what people would think of me and why would people like me or be upset at me and all of the things. Now that I find out the older I am, the more I am sure about myself and the more I am sure about how I want to do things. As long as I do right by people, it's okay if people don't like me.
Yeah.
I wish I learned that a lot younger. I would have saved myself so much heartache, and it was just very difficult. And I think really, again, by traits, and if you listening and you Asian, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We were just taught to be people pleasers. Because if you were not people pleaser, you were just an asshole. And that's just, and now I realize the difference. You can stand up for yourself and still be good. And that has done really well for me in business. I've been able to say, thank you, but no thank you.
Yeah.
And still be able to have a good relationship with a person I say no to.
I think that that's so relevant for so many people in our industry because we are in the service industry. We innately love serving people. We innately love caring for people and nurturing people. And that people pleaser sort of mentality often really, really goes along with it. And that's a lesson I was still learning well into my 30s. And it really took me sitting and like I was actually getting coaching. And it took me sitting and going, okay, who are the people that I like the most in my life or in business or in work relationships? And they are people who had strong opinions and weren't apologetic about them. And we could disagree and I didn't dislike them because we disagreed.
Correct.
And it was this like aha moment that I was very much older than I wanted to be when I finally like internalized this, that I like people more when we can have different opinions and still be friends. So why would somebody like me more if I agreed with everything that they said? Like that's not something that attracts two people to each other in whatever kind of relationship you're going to have.
Yeah. And I realized this too. Often if you go into a relationship, business or personal, right, and you care so much about what everyone else around you think or what they're going to think of you or what they're going to like you or not like you, you rob yourself of so much opportunity and time and heartache where you could spend time on building your business versus going, you know, oh my God, like I said that today, and is that person's going to dislike me, this, that, whatnot. Nobody cares. I learned that people don't care nearly as much about what you think they do, you know, and it robbed me a lot of the time in my 20s where now I'm just able to look at something and I'm like, okay, well, we don't agree, but that's okay, you know, and then I'm not sad about it. And I just remember some of the things that happened that absolutely crushed me, like just emotionally crushed me. And I said, maybe I should not pursue that business opportunity because I know that will compete with certain people that would do this, do that, or that would, you know, not. And I robbed myself of those chances when I was younger because I want someone to like me. And now the person's not even in my life or in the same field anymore. So it's really irrelevant in the long term. And again, if they are your peer, they're gonna be your peer regardless, right?
Yeah.
And they're gonna stay in your circle regardless. So I wish I told my younger self that.
Yeah.
Would have saved a lot.
I love that. Yeah, that's important. One thing that somebody pointed out to me once was that like think about how much you think about yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Like and your immediate world right around you. Everybody thinks about themselves that much. They don't have time to think about you.
That's what I said. I'm like, you know what? Newsflash, nobody cares.
No, everybody is so like everybody's world is their own world that's revolved around them. And they might think of you in passing, but they are going to move on and their life is still going to be about them, not about you.
And I say this, I am the oldest sister of four of three siblings, and I say this to my younger sisters or brothers a lot of time when they're going through things. I'm like, oh, blow over, you know, and they always looked at me like, it's life shattering right now. What do you mean it's gonna blow over? And they said, remember when this happened? Do you still think about it? And they're like, no. I'm like, oh, blow over.
Yeah,
it'll be fine.
Yeah, always a good reminder. Thank you. Okay, question 3. Okay. Thanks for indulging me and not needing to see the questions first because I actually had a lot of fun writing these. You started PLA as Paris Lash Academy with pro-made fans when they were like not a thing.
Nope.
What gave you the audacity to make such a move that you knew others would look down on?
Well, number one, at that time, nobody knew who I was. So, and I started it with, I literally start Paris Lash Academy because I wanted extra diaper money because I just had my son and I was like, Michelle, you can't kill yourself 60 hours a week just lashing anymore. So just, you know, sell some of this stuff. And so number one, because I didn't think it was going to go anywhere.
Okay,
so,
that's fair.
So I care so much less.
Yeah. That's actually a huge lesson.
No, absolutely. I was sort of like, okay, I think this is going to sell. And I put it on, and I'll talk about the ProMate in a second. But yeah, no, I didn't think it was going to go truly nearly the size of what it is now. I was hoping that would sell locally in Reno, and then a few people. I didn't expect anyone to know about it. It to grow beyond the garage that it was.
So it wasn't really intimidating.
No. So I was just like, you know what? I put it out. If it doesn't sell, I have a backup plan. We have a salon. I'll just use it all.
Them. Yeah.
I'll just use it all. It's going to be fine. 3 years worth of inventory.
Yeah.
But it's fine. So that's one. And then second, I was at the end of my lashing career. I was already lashing for about 10 years at that time. I was absolutely hurting my whole hands. I was making handmade fans all the time, lashing 60 hours a week plus.
60.
And then, I was lashing 6 days a week, and I was only not lashing on Sunday because we, after running the salon for 3 years, open 7 days a week, decided this is just going to be insane and all of us going to die.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And say that, if we open the salon 7 days a week, we will be here 7 days a week.
Yeah.
So we just shut the salon down on Sunday and just say, my parents were there at that time, just moved here. So I'm like, I need to spend a day with my parents, my kids, got to be there for them sometimes, somehow.
Yeah.
So we shut the salon down on Sunday, but I was there every day from 9 to 7. Every day. And sometimes earlier because we open at 9, we close at 7. So I was lashing the last year with a hand brace on my hand. And then now looking back, I see the insanity of it. But at that time, I was so broke that it didn't really matter. If you told me that I would have to cut off a kidney to make my life happen or everything going, I would be like, sounds like a logic choice. It's fine. It was
Just
fine.
what I have to do.
Yeah, you do what you got to do. So I start making the fan at home so then I can start putting them on so it hurts less when I was lashing. And then I realized, holy crap, we have a lot of new lash artists that really struggle learning how to make fan. There's a lot of lash artists like me who really overly abused their body over the years. And they could probably use a little bit of help. So I start selling pre-made, but I call them pro-made because they were made by lash artists. My husband and my dad was like, I've never seen this thing before. You buy lash tray, why now you sell these little pot that have lashes? And it used to be just this plastic, box, and it has loose fan in it. And I told my dad, I said, when I think about it, this is how I think. I think classic lashes is like bicycle. Okay, handmade fan is like planes. And lash artists, there's so many lash artists struggles with actually learning how to make a fan. I look at them almost like pilot. There's always going to be more people that know how to drive a car, which then I call pro-mate a car. Because I say, people's going to travel with bicycle. People's going to learn how to fly a plane, but there's going to be way less people that know how to fly a plane. But if I make a car for lashes, which is in the middle, a lot of people would gravitate towards it. And I think it's really going to grow. And my dad sort of stood in the kitchen and go like this, God bless him. He's so supportive. He's probably think my daughter has gone nuts.
Yeah.
But okay, because he doesn't know anything about lashes.
Right.
But I explained the whole things to him with so much convincing that he's like, okay, so you're going to make the car for lashes. So he called Pro-Mate the car of lashes for a really long time.
Oh my gosh. But it is the most commonly used form of transportation.
Yes. So that's what I said. I'm like, you know what? Driving bicycles kind of slow, get you from point A to point B. Driving planes is super awesome, but not everyone's going to be able to do that. I need to make a car version for lashes. So yeah, he called that car of lashes for quite a while until we that is called Pro-Mate.
That is the cutest thing.
But yeah, so then I launched with Pro-Mate 5D and then it sort of started growing from there and then we added in more things. But yeah, it was definitely a trying time to add in Pro-Mate. I don't know if I own PLA now, and PLA never had Pro-Mate and just a traditional lash tray. Now, I don't know if I have the balls to add in Pro-Mate now.
Wow.
Because I think I'd be too worried of what people would say of me. But at that time, nobody knew me, and I was desperate, and I didn't care. So I was just like, this seems great. It's fine.
But we just talked about how it doesn't matter what other people think of us.
Yes.
So
we're working on it. A work in progress.
Always.
A work in progress.
Always. I was talking to I was talking to Ashley and we were talking about, oh shoot, I lost it.
No, that's okay.
Work in progress. I'm coming back to it. Oh, we were talking about self-confidence and how like no matter what level you're at in your career, you question things. Like it just because somebody is confident or has confidence doesn't mean that they don't ever doubt themselves. And I have quit my job in the lash industry over and over and over again. And almost, except for one specifically, almost every time it was a matter of self-confidence. And when I've shared that with people, they're like, oh my gosh, I'm not alone. Like if you struggle with that or you question things, like it's okay that I do too. And I think that it's just wonderful to know. And it's like one of the things that I love about you is you are transparent and you are open about those things. Like the fact that it is still a work in progress.
Yeah.
Always.
Every day. Every day. Especially this business thing. I feel like I sort of barely get a hang of it and then I learned something new and I was just like, that's a thing? You know? And then I'll walk up to Jeff's office and I'm like, Jeff, I feel so stupid asking this, but is this a thing? And then he'll look at me, he's like, yep, it is. And I'm like, so you've been telling me that I've been doing this particular thing wrong for like 7 years. And he was just like, yeah, but we can fix it. And then he's like so fatherly.
Yes.
So he's like, yeah, we can fix it. And I was just like, how? And often like setting things up right at the beginning is so much easier than like trying to reverse and fixing something that you've had for 7 years. So we've done a lot of that the last, I say like 3 years or so.
I love how he says crawl, walk, run. Like first we have to crawl. So what's the first step that we have to do? And then like we'll run later. Like the whole thing will be fixed later. But for now we have to crawl. I love that.
And that's a new concept for me. And I think that's why me and Jeff work together well because I just run.
Yeah,
like
I can tell.
Barefoot, full speed running ahead, and it doesn't matter. You know, it could be a clip like 50 feet ahead, and you know my butt would be running, and I was just like, oh God. But I'm grateful for the team that I have because the team that I have all are more experienced in what they do in their particular field. That sometimes they was just like, come back right now. That's not what we're doing, and I think that have saved me more time than once.
Yeah. That's lovely. That's amazing. Okay. I have another question, but I have to check my phone really quick.
Okay.
Because Cynthia said that we were going to order lunch and then I never ordered lunch and I'm hungry. Just a second. Based on how you started your business and the risks that you took or like the risks that you've taken in PLA, would you encourage others to take risks in their careers and how risky is too risky?
Oh boy, I feel like you're asking the wrong person how risky is too risky.
I thought it might be.
You know, risk it all. I would say, so let's start with the first part of the questions is would I encourage someone to take risk and how much risk?
Yeah.
I always say if you don't like taking risk, which is totally okay, and a lot of people are not a big fan of taking risk, I think being a lash artist is not a crazy risk because, you know, you're providing a service. As long as you do your job good, you will always be able to eventually build up a clientele. If you open a salon if you open a business, you open a salon responsible for other people, that's taking in risk. I would probably say in order for you to run a good business, and I've not always ran a good business, but and I got pretty decently lucky along the way that anytime I make a mistake, I was able to recover. But knowing what I know now, I would say take very calculated risk.
So be smart about it.
Be very
Don't
smart.
just jump off.
Nope, don't jump
into the
both
deep end.
feet
Yeah.
in. And then try to figure it out along the way. You can do it, and if and you can be successful, and it could be very rewarding on doing it. But if you think about, hey, I'm just not gonna think about it, I'm just gonna jump in both feet. And hey, I'm gonna take a minute, think about it, and assess my risk. You may ended up doing the same thing, just a lot more confident on what you are going to do. And having a backup plan is a really good thing just emotionally, for your head. You know, you're like, I tried this, This is all the things I'm going to do. I think it's going to be this way. Always ask yourself, in the worst case scenario, where am I going to land? And if you are okay with where you land at worst case scenario, then I say it's worth taking the risk.
I love that. Like write that down. Like that's something that not you, like whoever's listening to this. That's like that's like tangible advice. Like that's something that you can do something with and go, okay, how do I know if I'm going to take this risk?
Yeah. Like when I launch a product line, my backup plan was, well, if none of this sold, I have enough inventories for a year, right? Yes, sure, cash will be a little bit tight. I will probably have to watch my money a little bit more.
But you wouldn't lose your business.
But I wouldn't dump it, and I wouldn't lose my business. So I would always say, now knowing what I know, take very calculated risk, so then that way you don't risk your all, right?
Yeah.
Because again, it's when you're in your late 30, like I am, I've been through too much to risk it all. Okay? I'm sorry. Like this is,
I agree with you.
Yes. I can't even imagine when I'm in my 20s, I was willing to take way more risk because guess what? I had nothing. So,
Right.
So if this didn't pan out, I'll come back and be lashings and I'll be okay. I can feed my family, all of this stuff. But now building the business, every decisions that I do, it has to be a calculated risk because otherwise I have consequences. And the consequences is no longer just me. Right, like if we make the wrong decision, then the business doesn't do well. We may have to lay off staff. We may have to do this. We may have to do that. So all the things that we do now have bigger consequences the bigger the business that you have. So my advice to you is take risk. Just think about it. Don't jump in both feet. But also don't let other people talk you into doing things that everyone does.
Yeah.
Because that's so hard.
Do you want to talk a little bit more about that? I
Yeah.
think that's a really important topic.
Yeah. And everyone comes to tell me, when people talk to me, they're like, well, I really, really want to open a lash brand. And I said, okay, what's the reason why you want to open a lash brand? Do you want to speak more? Do you want to make more money? Is it a financially thing? Is it because you love it? Because if you just want to open a lash brand because you can make more money, I'm telling you, there's other ways that you can make more money without opening a lash brand.
Right. And just because they've seen somebody else do it, they think that it would work for them too.
I would probably tell you that America is a really special country where I don't think anywhere in the world has a country that have like 300 small lash brand. We have so many different lash brands, and majority of lash brands in America cannot grow past $3 million a year. And it does sound like a lot of money, but after you minus what you pay out for inventory, you pay for staff, you pay for marketing, most lash brands owner don't make more than 200 grand a year that they pay themselves. And it comes with so much responsibilities.
Yeah.
So if you going into it because you want to make money, and for a financial reason, like only, I don't think it's the only way in our industry to make that much money.
Right.
Yeah. And then I've seen a lot of people go in and open a lash brand or go in and be an educators or going in and open the salon because that's the next thing you're supposed to do. Because if you're not, then you're not successful. And I can't tell you like how so far from the truth that really is. Yeah. I know lash artists that work 4 days a week that makes great money, that are stupidly happy. Yeah. And I think at the end of the day, it's what you want and what you are willing to sacrifice in order to make that dream happen, right? Some days I wish I work 4 days a week.
Yeah.
But that's not in the card for me because of the life I choose and I love it. So it's worth it for me. But for like my husband, for example, if I force my husband to be here and work on our business 5-6 days a week, I think we get a divorce.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he values his freedom and his time and the ability to go do whatever he does, so much that I think if I force him to be here, it's going to really make him miserable.
Yeah.
And then therefore it makes me miserable. But if I have to do what he does, which is sort of drive the kids to school and pick them up and do all of the activity, if we would have swap role, we both would have been miserable. So so I say, don't do everything the way that people think your career journey is supposed to be, but figure out what makes you stupidly happy and do that.
Yeah, I love that. That's funny. You and I have talked about that a little bit with our like with our partners. Like I've been on both sides. Like I
Yeah.
was a stay-at-home mom and I did all of the stay-at-home mom things, and it took me not too long to realize that I was a better mom when I had a full-time job and when I was able to like have that drive and that purpose.
Yeah.
And I desperately, like when I was little, not little, but younger, I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. I didn't want anybody else to raise my children for me. Like that's what I always said. And then I had the opportunity to do that. And I was like, wait, I like working.
Yeah.
Like, and it took having that experience to go, okay, I'm not ashamed to be
Yeah.
a working mom. Like my mom was a stay-at-home mom, my sister was a stay-at-home mom, and it worked for them and they loved it. But like my husband does a lot like around the house and
Yeah.
like helping at home
Same.
and that kind of thing because I enjoy working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My best friend, also VP of TAT, Caitlin McInich, we've talked about this very often because, we have children and we are both very like career ambitious. And often, sometimes like our husbands are like, must you go on that trip? Or must you go to like this conference and stuff? And sometimes it makes us feel like I'm very lucky. My husband most of the times are like, no, you're fine, just go. But I feel guilty if I'm gone for so long. But also I've had a time, like about a couple months that I stayed at home. I had a really difficult childbirth with my second one. So I stayed at home for almost 8 weeks after he was born, and I couldn't go back to work. And I remember my parents moved to America when Dylan, my son, was 6 weeks old. So I was home by 6 weeks by then. And I think they thought I was a little crazy because I was absolutely not behaving how I supposed to. I was talking to a toddler and a baby the whole entire day, and my husband was working, and I was just losing my shit. And I'm not. I admire people that could be a stay-at-home mom and are so happy doing it. I can, and I'm so grateful that my husband allowed me to. To work and doesn't guilt trip me over it.
Yeah.
Which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, you kind of have to have that, like, that's something in you if you want to start your own business, if you want to start your own brand. Like, you have to go, okay, like, I want something like this instead. Like, if you want to be a stay-at-home parent, like, starting your own lash brand probably just isn't a good idea for you.
I think it
In my head.
Yeah, I think you could probably juggle and be a stay-at-home parent and then have a lash brand, but but you can scale it so big, and then beyond a numbers, you no longer are able to do good at both.
Yeah.
You will start yelling at your kids for asking for juice because you are on a call. Like, it's just a reality of things. And I have the ability to like 100% work from home because I work with so few people in the office. And if I work from home for a month, I don't think people would notice a difference, but I can't work from home because if I work from home, I get too distracted with other things. And I want to be able to work and then go home and be at home.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm a better parent that way,
Yeah.
versus like trying to juggle them both. And I don't think I could ever work from home.
I do.
You do.
I have my office.
Yeah,
and
but you have your office.
I have
You
my
shut the
office
door.
in my home. I shut the door
Yeah.
and I stay in there. And then that way, when I like leave my office at the end of the day, like I'm at home.
Yeah.
But I used to like work all over in my house, and then I felt like I never left work. So yeah, I had to compartmentalize it.
Yeah, I have a 10 and an 8 years old. So like the 8 years old would probably come and it's like, I want juice. I want this. I want that.
I have a 17-year-old who's completely self-sufficient. So
So maybe later.
a little bit of
but
a different
no,
story.
I do love working in PJ. So
Okay, let's move on to another question. Innovation in the industry is so deeply important to you, like more important to you than I would have known. And I know that you have personally innovated so many things that so many people wouldn't know or like wouldn't accredit to you. And I'm not going to ask you to like list all of those things right now because that would probably make you really uncomfortable. But I'm wondering, what is it that drives you so to continue to innovate and continue to create, even though you aren't actually doing lashes anymore and it's not changing your career?
yeah. I would say if you look at the lash industry, we are incredibly underserved. And we are so new. So if you look at the hair industry, the nail industry, there's a lot like new formulation, new this, new that coming out every year. I mean, you are almost overwhelmed with the choices,
Yeah.
right? Like if you want to do this, do that. When it comes to lashes, I would probably say ProMate was probably one of the biggest, like first innovation, and then like UV curing lashes, right? You could probably count all of the big innovations of the lash industry in like one hand. And I think as a lash artist, we rely so much on our tools to do these beautiful set of lashes, making women feel beautiful with very limited tools, by the way, and very limited choice. And I love looking. I think just in general, I sort of love looking at something and say, how do I make it better? I learned this from Shark Tank. I watch a lot of Shark Tank.
I love that.
When it was a lash artist, I was just like binge listen to Shark Tank and dreamed of a day that I could like pitch a business on Shark Tank. But I learned from Shark Tank that if you could solve a problem or if you could make something better, you have a business. So I often look at things that I have and I'm like, how do I make this better? There's another person in this industry that I really love and admire, which is Tuscany. Like, have you ever seen Tuscany like lash? She looks like a mad scientist.
I was just going to say that. Yes, she absolutely does.
I'm going to ask her permission to like take a screenshot and like put it on the screen.
Yeah.
She looked like a mad scientist.
She does.
One time I asked her about like, hey, what do you think about this tool? And she's like, I have it. Let me send it to you. And then she sent it to me to like look at it so I didn't have to buy it and it will come faster. And I looked at it and I'm like, the tool did not come like this. Like how much of this was like a tusk fixing, adjusting, like maneuver, because it literally have like double-sided tape on like certain part of this, and it have this and it have that, and she's like, yep, I did this, that, and whatnot. And I love talking to her because anytime that I talk to her, I was just like, how do I make this better? And it brings me, I think selfishly, I did that because I think the lash industry, like, could benefit from having new innovation and it's fun and exciting. But selfishly, I think I did it off of my need of feeling happy when I make something better.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So like I didn't
It's
really
satisfying.
Yeah, I didn't sit down and I was like, I think I need to make wispy ProMate for lash artists. Like it wasn't a train of thought. It was more so that lash artist was hand making fan and then creating these beautiful wispy set of lashes. And I'm like, okay, how do I make this better? How do I make this to be so that a newer lash artist could create these look, and not necessarily for the lash artist itself. When I make something, I am so selfishly happy first, and then after that, I sort of come and I'll be like, here's my scratch paper of all the things. How do we make it a reality? And then we decided if that's something that we would bring to the market or we're not going to bring to the market. But I do a lot of innovations because it makes me happy. And I do a lot of it when I'm sleeping. Because I'll sleep and I'll wake up and I'll like, why did I think about this? This is so crazy. And it makes me happy. The last 2 years running PLA was less so financially stressful, but it was more so fulfilling for what I love doing. So sometimes I make decisions where people may go like, huh? But I love it so much and I believe in it so much that I sort of steer the company a little bit differently. Bringing in the nail lines is another part of that.
Yeah.
Because people have warned me over and over and over and over again that, Michelle, do you know how many lash line try to bring in a nail line and have failed? And they gave me the list.
I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't know that there was a list.
There was a lot of company that brought in a nail line and they said it didn't pan out, it wasn't successful. I personally talked to some of the owners and they were just like, yep, I strongly advise you against it. And rightfully so, because it didn't have a good turnout with it. But I loved the nail line that we developed so much because we developed it around the idea of making our bottle and packaging so different and popped out. It solves a problem in the salon that I had that people didn't know exist. People didn't know that was a problem. That if you have all your gel polish to be all black or all white, that was a problem. It was a problem, okay?
Yeah.
Like when I had
like
my
when there's like just like a dot on the top that's a color.
And when I
and
had
not accurate.
Yeah, when I had my salon, I would have like 5,000 colors and all of them would be black or white. The nightmare and the argument that nail technician was going over, like, how do we find the right color? We had to look at all of the numbers. It was always disorganized. And nobody ever know what's inside the bottles of the colors. And the swatches was always falling apart. So I did the nail line selfishly because I wanted to solve a problem that I knew existed. And then I came and I said, can we launch a nail line? The look on Caitlin's face. At that time, Caitlin was running like VP of, marketing, PLA. And she's like, looked at me and she's like, huh? And I'm like, I really want to launch a nail line. This is what I want to do. And then I spent like 2 hours convincing her that it was worth it to do the nail line. And I think she first did the nail line because, because I talked her into it. And then it really gained tractions. And, we work really, really hard on it. And now nails about 25% of what we sell, which is a little crazy. But yeah, no, it makes me really happy more selfishly. It filled my cup.
Yeah.
Is what I would say.
That's so cool. And like I had like a little glimpse of that just the other day because I woke up with an idea and I was able to bring it to you and you were like, let's make it. And I was like, what?
I'm like, it sounds wonderful. Let's 3D print it.
Like,
let's make a mold and we'll make it happen.
That's what that feels like. That's so cool.
But you think about lash artists that have new good ideas like all the time, every day, because you sit and you merit in the environment and you're like, hey, if it's like this, it would be so much better. And I think now, and I'm not afraid to fail, I would say, because I've thought about some idea and I told people and people are like, that's nuts. And then I try to make it. I'm like, they're right. It didn't work. It didn't work. It's fine. Not. It's fine. But then some of the idea that we were like, oh, maybe. And then we make and we were like, wait, this is a thing. Which, by the way, Tress told me an idea yesterday where I was just like, I'm so excited.
Me too.
Yeah.
I've always been like an idea generator.
Yeah.
And I just haven't had the ability to like create the things that I think about.
To turn it into a product.
And to have you go, we could do that in a couple of days. I was speakless.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I'm really excited. So watch out for Tress' next innovation.
Yay. Oh my gosh. Okay. Speaking of that, this isn't on the list, but we're derailing. We have a new launch happening.
Yes, we do.
Do you want to talk about it at all?
When is this episode airing?
The week before, hopefully. Okay. The week before we actually have it available for sale.
Yeah. So again, all in transparency. I sometimes I feel like I share more than I should because sometimes my teams are like, don't say that. And I said, but it's the truth. I found this out after doing a lot of survey and look into our customer base. And actually, I found this out after Tress come and join our company. The very first conversation that I have with Tress sat on my green couch, and she was just like, if I know nothing about PLA, what would you tell me about PLAs? So I told her all the things about PLA, and she said, I know about PLA as a beginner lash artist brand. And I'm like, say what? What are you talking about?
That was my perception.
No. I mean, Tress someone who didn't work with PLA before and didn't really collab with PLA before. That's what she thought about PLA. And I was a tiny bit offended. And I was just like, huh? What? And then I went back and I looked at our customer and I looked at what we sold and I said, you know what? We are a brand that really cater heavily to beginner lash artists. And then with Tress start coming and working with me, and Tress is known for her mega volumes, beautiful lashes. And then I really steer the other way from barely having products for mega volumes or volumes, and then really heavily invested in ProMade, where I now want to say, I want to make products for everyone. I don't want to be like a beginner's brand, even though we've been around for a long time. I want to be a brand where people can come and find innovative, good quality products at whatever stage of their career they are at. So Tress talked to me, and I was just like, you know what? I love to develop a line specifically dedicated for more advanced lash artists. And would you help me? And she said, yes. So, came like a flood of 1 million samples. And then we tested everything. We have everyone blind tested things. And we probably have about, I want to say 10 to 15 lash artists first test the first batch. And then we narrow down to what we have that we are going to launch in a week.
Yep.
In a week by the time we air this. I don't run marketing, so I like to zip my mouth and share nothing about it and let Tress share about
That's
it.
perfect.
Of whatever Tress feels comfortable sharing.
Perfect.
I don't want to ruin it for her. I don't want to ruin her surprises, but can you share something about anything that you feel comfortable sharing at this point?
Yeah, actually I hadn't thought about talking about it today. So
It's beautiful.
I knew that I wanted to help launch this podcast in advance of that of this launch because I wanted to be able to talk about it, but that's not the episode that we're on right now. I was actually going to talk to Erin about it with product development and that kind of thing, and like
oh my God, Erin, another genius. This product that we bring in for you has all kind of customizations. Like I know I sent out a tray where you were able to choose, like, you know, if Tress lashes that you like more, or if Chris lashes you likes more. But that's not what we're launching. Like I want to tell you, like that's not exactly what we're launching. What we're launching has so much customizations, and I want to let you know that if you voted, if you write your feedback, I read through every single one of them.
every single one.
And I literally every 2 days I'm like bugging Tress and Jessica, and I'm like, did more people submit their response? Because I want to read through it. So we go back with Erin and the manufacturers, and we tweak and customize a lot of the things. So the products that we're launching, none of you guys actually tried it before.
But it's better.
Oh, it's way better.
And like the
It's
responses
way-
that we got
Yeah.
about them were extraordinary.
Yeah.
I had somebody message me and tell me that she was going to close her salon until she got her hands on the things that we have coming.
Oh,
I was like, you can't keep your clients, please. But she was like, I'm never going to use anything else again.
I'm so
and she's
excited.
tried everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
And it's really special because Erin, again, without sharing too much, because Erin's going to talk about it, I gave Erin a bunch of stuff, a bunch of lash tray, and I said, Erin, can you test all of these and tell me what you think about it? And she tests them, and she had such great attentions to details, and I think I have a decent amount of attentions to detail when it comes to lash because it sort of comes with product development.
She has genius level attention to detail.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And then she came back to me and she's like, hey, I like this because of this reason, and the ability for her to articulate her word that I understand from a product development perspective. And she say, hey, why don't we make it like this? And I sort of looked at her and I'm like, why didn't I think about that?
It's right.
And then that was the moment I'm like, Erin, can you please come here and work here? Because Erin was truly just sort of help consulting at that time. And then and that changed my perspective of like, how do I make lashes better? Because God, we are so set in how we make our lashes, especially when it comes to lash trays, the things that have been around for a long time. So I'm beyond excited, and it's so different than what PLA had, you know, from every perspective there is. And I'm so incredibly excited.
Yeah. So we'll get into it in an episode or two from now. Okay, we are almost out of time. So I have one more question for you of the last several that I missed. Give me just a second. I have two questions. You can choose which one you want to answer.
I don't care.
Okay. No, I'm gonna give them both to you.
Okay.
And then just choose one. Okay. The one question is, if you could change the world in one way, what would you change?
Okay.
Not necessarily the beauty industry.
Okay.
And the other question is, how would you encourage others in this industry to change the world around them if you could?
I'll do the first one.
Okay.
Okay.
We're still rolling.
Oh, do you want to repeat that or you?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't.
If I want to change the word, what would I do? What you say?
If you could change the world in one way, what would you change?
If I could change the word in one way that I could change, I would say now more than ever, it is so hard out there. Everyone's everyone has their own struggle and their own challenges. And again, it sounds really cliche to say from the people that I agree with and to the people that I don't agree with, and people that done us right and people that done us wrong, and and people that I choose to surround myself with, and people that I no longer care to spend my times with. I realized one thing: we all are going through something, right?
Yeah.
And it's just life in general is hard, and life now is harder. I think with business struggling, with lash artists, there's more lash artists, it's more competitive, and at the end of the day, be kind. Be kind. Be kind to even the people that done you wrong, because often, if you think about it a couple months later when you are no longer angry, nothing is really that big of a deal.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you get hurt right away, it just feels life shattering. And you don't know if the other person is going through as hard, if not a more difficult time. So be kind to each other. And that's something that my mom always tell me, like, if you be kind, everything will come back and it's gonna be good. And it has done me so well in my career. God, I've had so many times that I was like, I can't. This is it. I'm stopping. I'm done. And I've had my staff that picked me up and say, nope, we're gonna fix it. We're gonna get through this. We're gonna be okay. And not because I pay them, because God knows with their talent, they can go to another place that get paid, a lot more, whatnot, because they genuinely care about me. And I realized I got that because of the time that I am kind to them, and I am, just treat them like a human being, so they are there for me when I go through a difficult time. So I really think it's going to change our world. It's at least going to change your circle around you. Surround yourself by people that you are being kind to and being kind to you. It's going to make your immediate bubble so much happier. Yeah. And anyone that doesn't belong to that bubble and make you miserable, just don't go there.
Yeah.
Just don't go there. It's okay. You're an adult. You choose to be around whoever that you are. So be kind. In my business, it has done me really, really well. In my personal life, it has done me really well. I have very few friends, but I have really great friends.
Yeah. I love that. Thank you so much for today.
Thank you. This is fun.
Absolutely lovely. We are going to do it over and over again, so don't you worry. It's not the last time we're going to sit here.
She's like, well, Michelle got to be on one episode and fire.
The first episode and never again.
Yeah. But I'm really excited about this, and thank you for hosting, and thank you for having me. And I can't wait for more episodes.
Me too. Yeah. I'm so excited. Stay tuned for the next one, and we'll see you next time, guys.
Thank you.